Loken had put down World Eaters less berserk, and Night Lords less energetic. Tormageddon was more tireless than Iron Warriors he had slain, more rapid than Emperor's children he had jeweled. It was blunt trauma like a salamander's warhammer, cold fury like an Iron Hand's mind, seething rage like a wolf of Fenris, zealous hatred like a bearer of words. It was the terror of the Shining Angels. It was the unknowability of their darker cousins. It was the invincibility of Ultramar. It was the swift death of Deliverance. It could not be trusted like a son of the Hydra. It could not be bargained with like a sorcerer of Prospero. It was rotting inside like Mortarian's whites. Like a rider of the Khan's pack, it was in constant motion. And like an Imperial fist, it could not be pushed back. It was an angel of death. But it was not a Luna wolf. Welcome to Fightmaster, the show where we analyze the galaxy's greatest warriors and break down their most iconic duels. Today, we're looking at a clash between one of the most beloved Space Marines of all time and the demonic entity puppeting the body of his former friend. From the Sons of Horus comes the possessed former Space Marine captain, now known simply as Tormageddon. And from the Lunar Wolves comes Garviel Loken, also a former Space Marine captain. Significant spoilers for the Siege of Terra book Saturnine ahead. Now for me, this is a fun fight to talk about for 3 reasons. The first is of course the sheer nightmarish levels of effectiveness both former captains have displayed throughout the Horus Heresy. These warriors have carved a bloody swathe from one end of the galaxy to the other, leaving legendary opponents dead in their wake at every turn. The second is the emotional power of this conflict. Loken and Tormageddon are heavily linked through their shared connection to Tormageddon and the Isstvan III massacre. The brutality of that betrayal having birthed the demon, and having, in a sense, birthed Loken, at least having reforged him into a weapon of vengeance. Not to mention they were both, in their way, a part of the Mournival at one time or another. And finally, perhaps most relevant to this channel, is their fighting styles. Or perhaps I should say, their lack of fighting styles. Both Tormageddon and Loken possess what we could call a formless fighting style, though they reach this state in vastly different ways. In the case of Loken, he's an exemplar of the Lunar Wolf combat doctrine. No, I don't mean things like the spear tip assault. Those are favored strategies. In terms of individual combat, the Sons of Horus, or the Lunar Wolves, prioritize versatility above almost anything else. The perfect Lunar Wolf, which Loken almost is, believes there is always a path to victory, if one can but find it. No matter the enemy, no matter the cost in blood or honor, even if it requires running away or defeat in the short term. There is no loyalty to a style or set of techniques. The perfect Lunar Wolf creates opportunities and reacts to every situation by exploiting every conceivable weapon or advantage. Formless. To fight in this manner, one must be extremely skilled in multiple combat styles, and be able to fuse them together in a way that appears seamless. One must also possess an incredible understanding of how the body moves, on top of impeccable instincts. Garviel Loken has all of these things. Perhaps the only way in which Loken is not entirely versatile is his weapon of choice. Loken likes to wield two swords. One, the standard pattern chain sword found across the legions. The other, a force sword gifted to him by his friend Rubio. Not being a psyker, it's just a power sword in Loken's hands. Still, against most foes, it's more than dangerous enough, as the Lunar Wolf presents as a whirling dervish attacking constantly from unpredictable angles. Tormageddon, on the other hand, reaches a formless state simply by not having a style or technique or even really skills at all. It's a demon controlling a corpse like a puppet. Do not mistake this for thinking it makes him less dangerous, though. The demonic gifts it possesses more than make up for its lack of knowledge. If it wants to punch you, it throws a punch. That punch happens to be extremely hard and extremely fast. There is no setup, no feints, or attempts to throw the correct type of punch for the moment. This is true of all its attacks and defenses. If it wants to block, it simply tries to block with the strength to stop a vehicle and speed that defies belief. What need of skill or technique does one such as this monster have? Formless. The possessed former Space Marine is also armed with two melee weapons, in the form of a chain sword and a devastating, if short-ranged, chain fist. These two combatants faced each other for the final time beneath the Imperial Palace of Terra, amidst the chaos of the Saturnine Gambit. Loken and Tormageddon led opposing forces of approximately 100 Space Marines. On the side of the Loyalists, the hybrid kill team, Naismith, made up of multiple legions. Against the always dangerous Sons of Horus unit, known as Vincor Tactical. These two forces clashed head-to-head, and where perhaps Loken and Tormageddon should have been commanding their forces, they instead broke off into a separate duel. It was a furious clash. Quickly, Loken found himself on the back foot. The demonic creature was too strong to block normally, too fast to time properly, too aggressive to create separation from. In fact, the Lunar Wolf felt the only areas where he held an edge were accuracy and tactical understanding. Rather than attempting to resist the inevitable by standing his ground, Loken opted to fight on the back foot, dancing away and laterally moving around the berserk creature, prompting it to overextend itself in near mindless desperation to get at its foe. This would create a number of openings for Gabriel Loken, but they were exceptionally difficult to exploit. Yes, he could get Tormageddon out of position fairly easily, but its speed and strength meant such openings were short-lived and extremely high risk. Still, once he had forced the demon into off-balancing itself, Loken stepped forwards, trapping the demon's chainsword with his own. Then, with all his strength and body weight behind it, Loken thrust Rubio's sword into Tormageddon's chest. Power weapon or not, it failed to do more than scratch the creature's armor, the gifts of the warp proving too strong for the blade while not at its full potential. Battering at Loken, Tormageddon surged forward again. The Lunar Wolf attempted to guard against his foe's chainsword, but the best he could manage was to disarm the both of them, the two whirring blade weapons flinging each other away. So, Tormageddon simply hit Loken with his now free hand. The power of the blow sent Loken staggering to the ground. As he attempted to rise, the demonically possessed corpse grabbed a hold of Loken's helmeted head with its chain fist, lifting the Lunar Wolf into the air and using the weapon to both crush and tear away at Garviel's helmet, its chain-bladed fingers closing like a vice, force quickly bending the helmet out of shape, shutting off Loken's vision systems, and beginning to compress his head. Blind and desperate, Loken flailed. With no other choice, he stabbed out with Rubio's blade. Somehow it found purchase, and something very strange happened. The pressure on Loken's head ceased. Ripping the destroyed helmet from his wounded skull, the Lunar Wolf beheld a miracle. Tormageddon lay flat on its back, dead, Rubio's force blade impaling him. But more than that, it glowed with blue psychic lightning that ran to the hand Loken had been wielding the blade with. The light was gone moments later, leaving Loken to ponder the impossible he had experienced. He wasn't a psyker, yet he had channeled psychic energy through a force blade. Enough psychic energy to banish a monstrously powerful demonic entity off this plane of existence. Putting such mysteries from his mind, Loken rejoined Kill Team Naismith and resumed his hunt for the traitors. Eventually, he would come to believe this had been a direct intervention of the Emperor, the master of mankind reaching out through Loken to slay a dangerous enemy of humanity. But what do you think? Is Loken just in denial about the level of his own latent gifts? Or did he truly have a brush with the near divine?